Welcome back to our Beatrice YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful overlap tulip sleeve with lace trimming. Has a little puff on the shoulder area as well. It's a really beautiful tutorial, as you can see, and it's very simple to make. I'll take you through how to cut and sew this in this tutorial. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. To make this, you have to, is an overlap sleeve, so it means your pattern has to be on fold so that you can work with the two sides of your sleeve. So this is my sleeve length. I want it to have a little puff, so I'm adding extra 4 inches for that. Okay, so now the next thing you need to create is your calf height. So for that, I'm going to come down by 3.5 inches for my calf height. If the person is big, you can do 4 inches, and then from there I'm going to use my free hand to connect to the head of the sleeve. Okay, this is the fold point of the sleeve. So from here you just connect like this all the way to meet your cap side, just like that. Then on the lower part here, I'm going to mark my round sleeve plus seam allowance, and then I'll connect that as well. So once you have this, you're going to grab your scissors and then cut out this shape so that you can open up the sleeve to shape it to form your tulip sleeve. Okay, so I have cut it out, and this is what I have. So to form my tulip sleeve is like an overlap sleeve. So what you need to measure first is how much you want this to overlap. This is the center. This is the center of the sleeve. So this is right side, this is the left side. So to overlap, one has to lap on each other, so you're going to be doing that on one side of the sleeve. So depending on how much you want it to overlap, from the center I'm going to mark around 5 inches following this curve, and that 5 inches stops here. Okay, that's for the overlap. So now where it overlaps is going to be opened. So to measure where that opening is going to be, you know they are going to cross on the center, so this is what is going to determine that. So you're going to come from your actual, remember this is for our puff. So from where your actual sleeve starts, you're going to come down by how much open you want this to be. So let's say I'm working with 5 inches for that as well. And then here I'm going to, on the other side, I'm going to come outwards by around 2.5 inches. So we'll have 3 points from here to here to here. So now you can use your free hand as well, and if you have a curve you can use that as well. So you're going to connect all these points together and you will cut it out. So that is going to be your pattern for the sleeve. So you make sure that everything matches well. You don't want it to be sharp. So you can see the shape that I have here now. I'm going to grab my scissors and then I'll cut this out. So this is the shape that we're going to use to create our tulip sleeve. We're going to be cutting that on our pattern, on our fabric. So you can see once it overlaps here, the opening is going to start from here. If you want yours to be more opened, you just come up a little bit when they cross. Okay, once we sew it, you will see what I'm saying. If you want it to be more open, you come up a little bit and then reconnect. If you don't want it this open, you come down a little bit. So it's totally up to you. And then the overlap as well, if you want it to really overlap more, you can come up here. If you don't want it this much, you can go like this. So it's totally up to you. This is the part that you're going to need from your pattern. And then for each of the sleeve, you're going to need 2 main fabric and 2 lining, because they are going to cross on each other. So I'm making 2 sleeves, so I'll cut 4 of this on my Ankara fabric and then 4 of this on my lining as well. I've gone ahead to cut them on my fabric and the lining. Okay, so I have 8 pieces here, 4 lining and 4 main fabric. So before I open it out, I'm going to go ahead and notch it at the center front. Okay, this center line, because that is where it's going to be lapping on each other. So you need that as a reference. So you just put it on fold like this and then create there's a lot of fabric, so It's not easy to notch. So I have placed my notch there. I'm going to add interfacing to my lining because I want it a little bit structured. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to take this lining now, and then I'm going to add gum stay to it. So after adding gum stay, I'm going to use it to turn out the main fabric. I've added the interfacing to the lining. So the next thing now is to go ahead and turn it all around. Okay, so you're going to be placing your lining against the main fabric, the one that corresponds with each other, like this. So I want to add lace trimmings to the part that it overlaps. Let me show you where the overlap is going to be. Remember that we placed a notch at the center front, which is this. So what you just need to do is to match your notches. This is the other notch. You match your notches together. Once your notches are matched, you will clearly see how the sleeve is going to look like. You can see your overlap. So I want to have lace trimmings here on the low overlap area, like this, because this lace is also on my main fabric. So that's why I want to place it there. So one is going to be full while the other is going to be half. That's because the overlap is going to cover it up. You can see, so you can mark where your overlap starts, so that that will guide you on where to stop placing the overlap on the other one. That's the one that's going to overlap on each other, like this. So I'll go ahead now and place the trimming in between the lining and the main fabric, like this. I'm going to place it like this, and then place my lining on it, so that by the time I'm done sewing, trimming will come out showing underneath it. So when you are sewing, I'm going to sew from here, from this overlap. I'm going to sew all around this overlap, and then I'm going to sew this side because I'm not joining it together. So if you are going to be joining yours together, you're going to sew your main fabric separately and your lining separately. But for me, I'm not going to be joining it here. I will join it when I'm sewing to the blouse. So I'm going to turn it separately. So I'll sew here and then sew on the side seam as well. I'm going to do that for all the 4 that I will need to turn. Then you're going to iron it down. I'll bring it back to show us what it looks like. Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew it and iron. So you can see this is the part that is going to go inward. So I stopped the lace trimming here, and this is going to go all the way. So these are the 4 pieces for the 2 bodies. So you can go ahead and serge this part as well, so that it can be neat before you cross it. So I'm going to arrange it. So to arrange it, you just need to look for where your notches are. You can see this is my notch here, and this is the notch for the other one. So you're going to be crossing them on each other like this. You can see the effect that this lace is giving to the sleeve. Okay, so after crossing it, you can go ahead and hold this part with a stitch. So now this is what you're going to be sewing to your dress. So this is obviously more than my sleeve, my round sleeve measurement, because I added extra to it. So the excess that you have on the center front here, you can see. So this was where I was showing you that once you want to cross it, you need to know how open you want it to be here. Remember, at my center front here, I came down by 5 inches here before connecting. So you can see the 5 inches and the opening that this gave me. So if you don't want this yours to be this open, you just come down a little bit before crossing. So that was what I was explaining. So this is what the sleeve looks like now. I'm going to go ahead and hold this crossing, this overlap area, with a stitch. Then after holding it, you bring your blouse, and then you sew to your blouse. I'm sewing mine to this blouse. It's an handkerchief peplum blouse, like I said, and you can see my lace is here. That was why I made sure to add it to a little bit of my sleeve as well. So I'm going to be sewing this to the blouse, but I'll just show you what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and hold it. I'm going to gather this back to my actual sleeve length measurement. You can see this is what the sleeve is looking like. So you're going to be sewing it on this part, and then you have your sleeve. So you do this for the 2 sleeves. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you sew it. Let me turn it to the wrong side. So you just place the side against each other, and then you sew it on this side. Then here on the shoulder area, you split it or you gather it to go back to your actual round armhole measurement. So you can see the crossing that we have here. You can see where this stops because it's going to be covered by the bigger one. So now turning it to the right side, this is what you have. So when you are crossing it, you make sure that this crossing here falls to your front area so that it can beautify the front more. You don't want this crossing part to be at the back, especially if you added lace trimming like mine. You want it to fall in the front. So when you're arranging it, you have to make sure of that. So I'll just take this to the mannequin now so that we can see what it looks like.
This is what it looks like on the mannequin. You can see how beautiful it looks. So you just need to pay attention to it and watch it carefully. It's a very simple sleeve and it's really nice, and you can see the effect that the lace trimming is giving to the sleeve as well. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.